All right, Steve, if you don't mind, just start with some opening statements here. We've got three games coming up: St. Thomas, Ohio State, Olympics starting today as well for the ladies out in Beijing. Just some opening thoughts here on the week ahead.
Yeah, exciting time for Huskies right now. Lots of games, and we're in the final stretch here of the season. And playoffs are going to come really quick, and then on top of that, you throw the excitement of some Huskies over there in Beijing, and obviously also a lot of friends on some other teams, and so you're excited for them to be fulfilling a life dream. So it's an exciting time.
Steve, let's start with that Olympic topic. Tonight, I believe it's Clara and Laura Zimmerman, the recruit that we have coming in next year, starting, and then Yanina will play on Thursday morning against Team USA. What have you heard so far? Have you heard much? I know that there's some communications that don't really happen right now with where the Olympics are located at the moment, but just what have you heard so far, and what are you excited to see from that group?
You just kind of I haven't spoken with them. I've sent them a message when they're on their way to Beijing, and then you just stay out of their hair. Their minds are there, and they're committed to their country and the Olympics and that lifelong, and we'll send little congrats to them, and wishing them well. But you really don't expect to hear from them because they're so immersed in the moment. So, but you hear from their players because they are teammates. They're staying in touch with them, and so you hear how they're doing with that and just how excited they are. It was picture day, I think, today or something like that. So that's always a fun day for everybody, and then it gets going. So you don't hear too much other than just kind of just a little bit from our players chatting with them.
Looking back on this last week, Steve, it's been a busy one. Obviously, Friday, Saturday series against Wisconsin, and then Minnesota Duluth this past Tuesday. First and foremost, Emma Paluzny, goaltender of the week, an outstanding performance. I know you and I talked about her after that evening that she had on Friday night. It's her fifth weekly award that she's received in her illustrious career. Just your thoughts on how she's continued to progress throughout her senior season.
Yeah, she just continues to get better, and what's amazing about her and what makes her so impressive as an athlete, as a person. You talked to her after Friday, against her strong showing against Wisconsin, and she still believes she can do better. She goes, "Nope, I wasn't on top of my game. I can do better." And she has this internal drive to always be bettering herself, and that's what we love about her. And that's what our teammates love about her, and that's why it's made her who she is. And so for us, to hear that, we're excited to kind of see her kind of go down the final stretch here in the last month or so, and hopefully longer of her Husky career. So she's been phenomenal, and it's not over yet. There's still more work to be done.
I know we talked quite a bit about special teams last weekend, and particularly the penalty kill for the Huskies has been very, very strong. I think over the last 13, 14 games, you're right above 90%, if not maybe a touch below. Um, your thoughts on things that have allowed that penalty kill to take the step forward? I know last year it was a big strength of this team. Beginning of this year, there were some nuts and bolts to figure out, but your thoughts on where that penalty kill is now?
Yeah, and I think we had talked about this before, but it's just players that have really bought in and really own that responsibility, and it's they've been able to, and sometimes that's a mindset. That's the biggest thing, is a mindset with the penalty kill. And you can draw all the X's and O's as you want, but if you don't have the right mindset when you go out there, you're going to be in trouble. And I think that's the biggest shift. And about a month or so ago, we just started talking about PK differently, in a different light, in terms of the mindset that they need to have when going on the ice. And I think that's really helped them. And ultimately, it's the other team, they have one more player, so yeah, you got to make up for that somehow, and that always comes down to that mindset. So just really happy with where that's at, and that's exactly, you really need that this time of year. You need your penalty kill really up to par, and doing well, and that's what it's doing for us right now.
Steve, looking ahead to this weekend, I think before we get started on anything with St. Thomas or Ohio State, Saturday is senior night. You'll be recognizing five seniors, if I'm not mistaken. Just walk me through your thoughts. I know it's hard to put it all into one message with this group, but just what these 5 have meant to this program over their time here.
Oh, it's just an incredible group. I was going over my thoughts a couple weeks ago and putting some thoughts down about this crew, and they have personality, they have drive, they have pride. It's really hard to pinpoint just one or two things that they bring to this program. They're a group of individuals who have really elevated what it means, expectations of the Husky program, and it's just that desire and drive to continually get better. And you saw that on Friday. That a Friday doesn't happen without your leaders and without those seniors really driving that. Getting a point against Wisconsin in a game we believe we could have won, and first point and since 2015. Right. So, and you just don't find that without strong leadership. And so it's a group that we're extremely proud to have as Huskies, and they'll always be Huskies. So it's a pretty special group.
Steve, I know St. Thomas, a team that we've already seen this season, the Huskies getting a couple points against the Tommies earlier this year. What have you seen on tape, just on film from this team, and going back to the last time that St. Cloud State matched up with them, that they're doing here in their first year transitioning up from Division III to Division I? And what are going to be some big keys this weekend?
They are a hard team to play against. We found that out early in the year. They're an extremely hard team to play against. They play a well-structured game, and they capitalize on their opportunities. They may not get a lot of shots during the game, but when they do, they make it count. And they have strong goaltending, and then they compete, and they're well coached. And they make you work for every inch of that ice. And we're expecting an extremely hard-fought game on Saturday and Sunday. So our players will be ready for it. But they're a team, St. Thomas. They play with a lot of pride, and they, again, like I said, we're expecting to have really, really competitive games this weekend.
We've talked about recovery a lot lately with these short weeks coming ahead with the rescheduled games. Obviously, very excited to get those games back on the schedule and continue to play here in the month of February. It's a 3-game and 4-day stretch for St. Cloud State with just an off day on Monday. What are going to be some of the big keys to that recovery, and what have you heard from the players about preparing for this short week ahead?
Well, I stayed away from them today. They had a little bit of a recovery day today. We didn't go on the ice today. I took a break from that, but they were at the rink getting treatment and doing a little bit of recovery, and I stayed away from them. Sometimes that mental break is good, and for everybody, and because that's the biggest thing. Physically, there's going to be some drain physically, but every team's going to be facing that this time of year, whether they have 3 games or 4 games or not. So for, Ohio State's going to be in a similar situation, and plus add travel on top of it for them on Tuesday, even though they play Friday, Saturday series, so it's really just managing your emotions and managing that mental game and finding that time for recovery, and that's the key, and just doing what you need to do to make sure physically you're ready to go, but also mentally you're rested and you're able to really be engaged during those games. So I thought that's what got us in trouble a little bit last night against Duluth. It's weird to say last night when it's a Wednesday, but I had to look at the calendar there. So I thought we just weren't able to be engaged in some of those situations. That just comes down to mental focus, which is going to be critical over this next little stretch.
I know we just had Joey hop on. Joey, are you there?
Yeah. Hey, Thomas. I'm with Jake Bedell.
Hey, Thomas. All right. Hey guys. So we've touched on quite a bit. Or you guys can go ahead with any questions that you have for Steve.
Yeah, I'll have a few. Sorry if you kind of already touched on it, but hey, Coach, I wanted to ask a little bit about like this Tuesday game, since you have a couple coming up, these midweek games. Is that kind of a tough game to prepare for? Does it make it tougher? Do you think it's almost nicer because you're less time in between games?
Yeah, they're sick of practicing now this time of year. They just want to play games anyways. So let's go. That's what all of the girls said. When we told them we had these Tuesday games, I think they all yelled out, "Let's go!" And then so they're excited for it. It's just we were just talking about with Thomas, is just managing your mental and emotional prep. Physically, obviously, that's a no-brainer. You have to manage that. But these players, they're fit. and it's just going to be that mental focus and that mental clarity that pushes you through those moments. And that's going to be key over this stretch. It's going to be a great learning curve for us, and it's gonna have us very well prepared for when playoffs comes, when possibly you're playing in a game 3 on a Sunday, 3 games in 3 days, we're going to be prepared for it, so it's an exciting time for sure.
And for the series against St. Thomas, it'll be kind of interesting because you guys play them so early on in the year. Maybe some of the film that you've seen them from St. Thomas recently, what do you think are some changes or adjustments that they've made throughout the season from way back like 3 months ago to now?
Experience, just getting more and more experience at the Division I level. They obviously have some players who have played Division I, but it's just more experience, and that's just hard to replicate. You just have to have time, and that's what they're going to grow with. And they're an extremely hard team to play against. They play with a lot of pride. They don't, they may give up, a large number of shots, but you really have to work for those shots. And then they don't get a lot of shots on their own, but they capitalize on those opportunities. They're very, very opportunistic team, so you have to be very, very diligent in your D zone, very diligent on the back check, and then when you get your opportunities, you have to capitalize. It's easy to say, but you really need to bear down on those situations because they make you work for every single inch of that ice. And so we're expecting a very hot fought series again this weekend.
Yeah, their goalies are really good in that last series. One of them's gone, which is kind of nice at least, even though she's off the Olympics. But I want to touch on a little bit on the power play too. A little tough go of it in last night's game. But you seem like you're changing up some units, trying to get some different bodies in there. What do you think needs to be done to create some more scoring chances on the man advantage?
Yeah, we had a long conversation about that as a staff this morning, obviously reviewing video, and it's something we'll touch on both days here leading into this weekend. And this time, special teams is absolutely critical. And the power play for us right now is something we need to address and work on a little bit. I thought our entries yesterday, our breakouts and then our entries, they just weren't sharp, and some of the routes we were taking we just weren't working together in those situations. And we have the personnel to do it, and we believe in the personnel. And so sometimes it's just a matter of just revisiting that, just going back to the structure, simplifying in some of those areas and just making a pass. Sometimes it sounds so simple, right? But I think we got a little bit away from that on our entries in Duluth. Their PK forecheck kind of threw us for a little bit of a loop, on the ice in terms of really jamming up the blue line. And that's something we're going to see again. We're going to see him 3 more times, right? So number one, that's it. And then, obviously talking about a little bit of a 5-on-3, we had an opportunity there last night and we just didn't capitalize on. And those opportunities, you want to be able to score on those 5-on-3s, so we'll talk about that a little bit. We've been tweaking the units. I think, it's a little more than maybe that we would like. And with some players departing that affected it. But again, we believe in the personnel we have here. And I believe it's just a matter of getting them some reps and having some success with it.
I got one more question for you, and then I pass it over to my buddy here. But about Dale Ross a little bit, you touched on her. It's probably, she's probably not the most offensive-minded player on your team, but it was nice to see her get rewarded for her first one yesterday after a nice tough forecheck and maybe some fortune. The girl slipped.
Yeah, it slipped and a little nudge by Dale, but that's the style of game that she plays. She's just a hard nose. Competing, there it is, 5-0, and you have a freshman just not backing down from number 5 team in the country. That's what you want. That's what we want, and then she gets rewarded with that. And, it just, again, that's what you want to see, especially in your younger players and with everybody. But she's a player that's, she's first on the ice, last off, I think, every single day. And I saw at the rink today, she was doing homework, that was in the morning before, and she's a player that deserves a little bit of reward that way, getting on the score sheet. But her game has been maturing away from the puck as well. Just that defending, her ability to defend, she's really been maturing in that area. And, Coach Molly, the D coach, has done a phenomenal job with her and the others as well, but with Dale specifically. So you can really see her growth and maturity starting to come through in the second half.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, just one for me here. So you've got quick schedule here. Tuesday night against Duluth. You got a weekend series with St. Thomas. You'll see Ohio State on Tuesday right after that. Just talk a little about how you guys are managing time on and off the ice with practice and downtime and just keeping the girls ready to go for 4 games in what feels like 7 days.
Yeah, it's going to be short and sweet, and I don't think any practice is going to go longer than 40 minutes. I think we went 30 minutes on Monday, with a little bit of special teams walkthrough. So today it was just, there was no ice for them. They just did a recovery and treatment day, just again, managing bodies and have a little bit of active recovery. But us coaches, we weren't around, giving a break from that as well. But tomorrow, we'll get back at it, with team meeting and then on ice. But you just manage the volume. You have to keep intensity up at certain moments. But really that's taken care of in games. So you just have to touch on a few things in practice, and they're just short practices. It's just staying short and sweet. I talked to our men's staff quite a bit in terms of how they managed the pod last year, and a little different situation. They didn't have classes to go to. However, there's a lot to learn from that, and that's just one feedback that they had provided, is just keep it short, sweet, and get what you need to get done and get off the ice. So that's what we're going to be trying to replicate, especially in these next 2 days leading into a tough stretch.
Is there a lot more video breakdown with the team in situations like this?
That's where you can utilize it more. I think sometimes you have to be careful that you don't overload it, and because I feel as though that our X's and O's, for example, if we're talking about last night, I didn't think our X's and O's were a major issue. Our back check and some of our steps in our neutral zone led to some goals against, so that's something that you just touch on, in a drill. And they know that the players know this time of year, even them coming back off the ice in those situations, they knew right away, so do you need to show them? Yeah, sometimes you need to. But you have to be smart with it. But it is a good teaching tool you can use this time of year instead of jamming it on the ice, right? Take time in video. Yeah.
I got one more for you. I was wondering, I want to talk to you a little bit about, so when you play these really top teams, especially in the WCHA, like the Wisconsin and, the Duluths of the world. And, you've guys shown that you can compete with these teams at a high level. What do you think, what do you think kind of is the key to that? Like, what do you see on the ice when you're competing with like Wisconsin and you're staying close with them? What are the good things that you're seeing, and how can you guys continue that to kind of maybe put it together for an entire weekend?
Well, staying close to them, we were beating them.
Yeah.
So,
amen.
beating them on Friday. So, and it's that mentality. It's just, we talked about, it's like, we just weren't, they were the ones hanging on. They weren't scoring. If they didn't get that power play, there was no chance they were scoring on Paul. There's no chance, and but hey, it didn't work out that way, but for us, we were extremely engaged in those games. And I'll talk about that Friday game against Wisconsin. Our structure was excellent. I thought our angles were excellent. At D zone, we had to sharpen up a little bit on D zone, but that's going to be natural against a team that gets just a high volume of chances, because they're teams like that, to go to your point, when you play a high end team, a high offensive team, they're going to get chances. You just want to limit the quality of them, and then they reduce, obviously, the amount of them. You limit the quality. And usually it's the second and third chances off of the first. You can eliminate that. Your goaltender can almost always take care of that first one, when, especially, with the ones we have, the goaltenders we have. So when you play those top teams, it's taken away some time and space. I thought Duluth caught us on a few steps in the neutral zone. And, the Duluth is a strong, fast team that, they have a very good top line. Elizabeth Giguere got 3 points, I think it was, against us last night. So you give them space and they'll take it. So you just have to limit that against those top teams. But at the same token, there were some plays that we made offensively against Wisconsin on Friday that we could have been up 3-0. No kidding, especially, some of those shots we were taking. So, and the same thing with last night. I just went over the game this morning, and, first period, we had 3 chances in the first 8 minutes.
Gentry right in front there too. She had that one-timer.
Yeah, she had that twice. Another one down.
Yeah.
And you had another one with Scribner in there. You go back to Wisconsin, where same thing. Scribner just basically almost missing an empty net, and they made a nice save. So those chances are there, and that's what's so positive for us and feel good. But you can't just rely on that all the time. You have to put the work in and put the work boots on. And I think that's what this group, this team, they need to have that work mentality, and that's what we had on Friday. Hence led to the success. And at moments, we let it slip a little bit last night, and they capitalized. So that's something we're really going to need for Saturday, Sunday this weekend.
You good?
Good. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're all good, Thomas.
Thanks so much, guys. And thank you, Steve.
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
All right, guys. Thanks. Appreciate the attention. Yep. Thanks.
Absolutely. Have a good one. All right, Dale. You got to run me through that goal you had. It was a pretty exciting one. You're kind of on the forecheck. Maybe got some fortune. She slipped a little bit, but kind of run me through that first goal for you.
Well, first I poke checked it in our end, and I'm like, I seen everyone changing. I'm like, okay, I gotta go. So I just went for it, and then I tried to just kind of put pressure on her. And once she fell, I'm like, this is my chance. This is my only chance. I don't get this as a defense.
Mm-hmm.
So went in and put it on my backhand, and I scored.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh, you gotta know. Okay. Anyways, alrighty. So what did you kind of feel about the game? Like maybe special teams wise, like on the power play, it seems like you guys struggled at some points. But what do you think needs to be done in order to create some more scoring chances on the man advantage?
I just think we need to move the puck more. I think we just gotta keep it on the outside and maybe go high-low a little more and get some more shots off the point and crash the net. I think that's our biggest issue is not having bodies in front of the net. And I think that's about it.
And then for your series coming up against St. Thomas, you guys saw them like really early in the year. So they've obviously had a lot of experiences with, Coach McDonald was talking about. What are some things that maybe you've seen maybe in the film? I don't know if you've watched any from this team and some adjustments they've made throughout the season because they've come a long way as well.
Well, I've noticed that they became a lot stronger and they're a little more structured now. Even against their game against Wisconsin, they played really well. You can tell from their score, but definitely we're gonna have to play a full 60 against them.
Dale, about 4 games in 7 days here with Duluth, and then 2 against St. Thomas, then Ohio State on Tuesday. Just talk about how you guys as players are having to manage this time. One thing that Steve McDonald said was that the men's team, they did this last year with the pod in Omaha, but they got to sit in the pod for a week. There were no classes, there was nothing else going on, just hockey every other day. So what's it like for you guys to be in this position where you've got to make up a series, 2 Tuesday nights and play some midweek hockey?
I think it's definitely hard on us as students, but we just try and get our homework done early, and as athletes, we just got to take care of our bodies and get some extra sleep and a lot of stretching and rolling out, and maybe not work so hard during practice, but just get some recovery in.
Has it been nice to have the shorter practices?
Yeah, I have a lot more time to do homework now.
Yeah, Coach was saying that you were in the locker room this morning doing homework before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got one more?
You're good.
All right, I think I'm good, Thomas, unless you got anything, buddy.
Yeah, we did have a couple more, Dale, here for you. I know that this Saturday is senior night, and one of the things that we like to do with senior night is talk to some of the underclassmen to get an idea of who the seniors are, which ones you've been particularly working pretty close with. I know that I think 3 of the 5 are Ds, so you've had a chance to work quite a bit with Weslow, Wiley, and Geyer. You're pairing mates with Geyer this year. Just any tidbits that you've picked up from them, any neat little stories that you have with the seniors this year?
Well, I'm actually roommates on the road with Poe, so we always read our book before games and put a little music on. So it's really taught me how to relax before a game and not be too stressed out. And Weslow and Kenzie and Geyer, they all taught me a lot of how to be poised with the puck, and I'm learning a lot from them just watching them. And the thing that was most important, I think, that I learned from them was just having fun. Like through the whole 5 years, just have fun. Like this is the only time you get to play. So just, enjoy it.
All right. I think that's actually it. You hit on Poe as well in there. So that's perfect for me. Guys, do you have anything else?
You good?
I'm good.
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your
Thanks,
time,
Dale.
Dale.
Thanks, Dale.
Yeah. Bye. Have a good night, guys.
Bye.